Here we go. So welcome everyone. So this is our Wednesday morning gentle and restorative class. So you will need lots of props. So a strap, a scarf would be good. If you have a bolster, great. Couple of pillows, a wall if you have one near you and you can use it easily, or the side of your bed or chair or even a stool of some sort would be great. And we're going to start lying down. So you can come to lie down on your back. You can have the knees bent, soles of the feet on the mat. Allow the knees to touch so that the legs can release. Hello Carolina, welcome. So we're just starting lying down when you're ready. And as you settle in, just allow the shoulders to release down the back. Allow the chin to drop in towards the chest. And really what we're trying to create here is that long spine, long back. You might even press into the feet and lift the hips, lengthen the tailbone, and then allow everything to come back down and kind of really nestle down into the earth. And you can have the hands on the belly. So we're going to do a 3-part breath once we've kind of had a settle. So you could bring one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart if that's useful, and we'll use the hands to direct the breath. But just, you know, for a few moments there, just settle in. Really make yourself comfy. And have a kind of check-in with how you are today, how things are feeling. Maybe there's a kind of heaviness, tiredness, or maybe you're feeling quite awake and alert. But whichever it is, just allow it to be as it is, not feeling that you need to change it or it needing to be any different. Just be with it. Just see if you can be with whatever is there. You could take a nice long deep breath in if you haven't already. Exhaling, just feeling that you can release down into this space, into your body. You might do that a couple of times. Then just allow the breath to take care of itself. So you can just let the breath come and go. Maybe you sense it at the nostrils. Or maybe across the belly, across the chest. Doesn't really matter. Just notice the breath coming and going, and the fact that you don't need to do anything for the body to breathe, which is pretty amazing. So this week we've been turning our awareness to the powerful practice of gratitude. And we can often have a lot of striving in life, working towards things, working towards the perfect career or a beautiful house, a good home life, financial stability, freedom from worry. And in that kind of pursuit of happiness, we can sometimes forget what we already have. So gratitude and the practice of gratitude, and we can think of it as that, not just something abstract. It's something that we can come to, particularly when we may be feeling a kind of discontent, something not quite right. It can be a wonderful, powerful practice and a powerful emotion that can allow us to tap in to those parts of the brain that enable us to feel happiness and joy and contentment. And it doesn't matter at what stage of life we're at or what our life circumstances are. It's been shown through study after study that practicing gratitude on a regular basis can bring us into that place of going, you know, what is available, what is around me at the moment is actually really great. And it doesn't mean that the kind of negativity and the struggles in life go away all of a sudden. They will still be there, but it just creates that balance between the two. So we're going to explore a little bit of this, and for those that have been to classes this week already, you'll be familiar with some of this. I'll bring in some new stuff as well. And you can just see what resonates with you. There might be some that you want to bring into your everyday life. And just, see how they feel. So for the 3-part breath, we're going to bring the hands onto the belly and feel that we can direct the breath into the belly. So just beginning to take slightly longer breaths. It doesn't mean it needs to be your absolute deepest breath, but just breathing in. Feel that the belly rise, and the hands on the belly just gives you an indication of where to direct the breath. You don't have to do it with the hands. So see how that feels. Just as you breathe in, the belly rises, and then as you exhale, the belly softens back down. Inhaling, belly rises. And exhale, softening in. And it doesn't need to be a huge rise either, so don't create tension. Don't kind of force this in any way. Just kind of get a sense that the breath, as it comes in, it goes kind of slightly beyond the lungs, the chest, and the belly rises. And when you watch babies and you watch children, they breathe really naturally in this way, down into the belly. And sometimes as adults we lose that because of stress, because of tension, because of aesthetics. We want to pull our belly in. And we sometimes need to be reminded to breathe into the belly. And then bringing the hands onto the center of the chest, maybe the heart space, just somewhere there in the center. And then feel that you could breathe and direct the breath into that area. And again, it doesn't need to be a huge rise, just a gentle lift of the chest, a lift of the heart. It doesn't mean that the breath doesn't go beyond the chest. It might still go into the belly. Absolutely fine, but just an awareness, if you like, of the breath moving into the chest. And then moving the hands, if it's useful, using the hands up into the collarbones. And feel that you could direct the breath further up into the chest. Sometimes we even forget that we have the lungs go almost all the way up to the collarbones. Feel that you could breathe into that space. Just a few rounds, and feeling that the breath enables you to just become a little bit more aware of your inner world as well. Just whatever might be going on for you, it might just begin to allow things to calm a little, allow the energy levels to reset. Breath is really, really powerful. And then we'll see if we can bring a 3-part breath. So imagine your breath as 3 parts. You could bring one hand onto the belly, one hand onto the heart. And as you breathe in a third, breathe into the belly. And then the chest. And you might move the hand that's on the belly to the collarbones and breathe into the upper chest. And then just a long exhale at the top of that breath, moving the hand back down to the belly, if that's useful for you. Breathing into the belly, the chest, the collarbones. There might be a little pause at the top, and then a long exhale. And there's no right or wrong for the length of the breath. Just be with what's right for you. And if you don't want to use the hands, you can just get a general sense of the breath moving into those 3 parts of the body. Belly, chest, collarbones. Maybe there's a little pause and then a long exhale. Take your time with that, maybe just a couple more rounds. And then the next time that you exhale, just complete that breath and allow your breath just to return to a natural rhythm. There's no control. Just pausing there for a moment. See how you are, how you're feeling here. One of the quotes that I really like around gratitude is, enjoy the little things, for one day you may look back and realize they were the big things. And this is so true about gratitude and happiness. We often have everyday positivity and things happening around us that actually make us really happy and joyful and grateful for what we do have in life, but often they just get dismissed and put to one side. And if you remember, that's to do with the negativity bias within the brain that we all have. It's just how we're wired, it's just how we're made. And we tend to focus more on the difficulties and the obstacles in life. And when you think about it, this is really because they demand some action. You know, we have to do something about it. And we might think we have to fight to overcome these things to get back to a natural flow of life. And on the flip side of that, we then forget to attend to the things that are good in our life. So really this is just about flipping that balance. Practicing gratitude is really the best way to remind ourselves of the things that make us happy. So take another long deep breath in. And then exhale completely. And then draw the knees into the chest. You could do some circles through the knees, maybe drawing the knees out to the side and then around. Or you could keep the knees together and circle the knees together. So it might just depend how the lower back feels. And where the body wants to move today. You know, if you do feel you're feeling like a little bit fatigued today, the energy levels are low, just, really go slowly. Really take your time. And maybe there's even a bit more stillness in your practice today. And that's fine, let it be what it needs to be for you. Equally, if you're feeling quite alert, and even though this is a gentle and restorative class, you can move a little bit deeper into that. A circle in the other direction if you haven't already. And do any movements that just make sense to open the body here in a gentle and very aware way. Really sensing into what is going on for you physically, mentally and emotionally. And then we're going to use our strap for Happy Baby, but equally you can do this without a strap. So if you don't have one, it's absolutely fine. But if you do, I'll show you that and then I'll show you without. So you're going to bring the strap around the balls of the feet. Allow the feet to be about hip distance, if not just slightly wider than the hips. Bend into the knees. Have the soles of the feet pointing up towards the sky. And then draw the hands down the strap so that you can bring the elbows onto the mat. Try to lengthen the tailbone and keep the shoulders on the mat. So the idea of taking the strap, the grip, all the way down is so that you can release the shoulders as well as the elbows. And if you don't have a strap or that feels too much, just draw the knees in towards the chest, out to the side, and bring the hands inside the leg to take hold of the ankles. And that's actually really lovely as well. So either one of those. But either way, it's quite soft. You're not having all of your strength in your arms to draw the strap down. It's quite soft. Make it as soft as you can without letting go of the grip. And we're going to stay here for a few minutes, so really feel that you can settle in and let yourself release. So the The gratitude muscle, if you like, in the brain is kind of like any other muscle that needs to be worked, it needs to be flexed. And if you remember from week 2, we were talking about the happiness muscle. So in a similar way, they're really quite connected, really quite similar. But another one of the quotes I love as well, it's not happiness that brings us gratitude, it's gratitude that brings us happiness. So it's really looking around within our lives and seeing what is going well. So it doesn't mean that the stuff that's not going well should be dismissed. We should still be aware of that. But when we become aware of what we're grateful for, it just starts to balance it out a bit. So just take some time as you rest here, just considering something that you feel grateful for within your life. Maybe it's something that happened today, this morning, or yesterday, or even last week. Or just something general in your life that you just feel really glad that you have it, that it's there. Maybe it's a person, maybe it's an experience, maybe it's an object, a thing in your life. And if you can kind of isolate one thing, try to. There might be lots, but we can come to them as well. And we don't just want to be aware of maybe things like, I have a house, I have a roof over my head, I'm very grateful for that, which is absolutely valid. We want to go a little bit deeper. So we want to think about what it is, and then consider why. Why are we grateful for that person or that thing or that experience? And then go a little bit deeper again and think about how that thing or person or experience makes us feel. What emotions does it bring up? So consider what it is. Consider why you feel grateful. And how it makes you feel. And even as a memory, this can bring up the same emotions. So similar to when we did the happiness reflections. It can have the same kind of fuzzy, warm feeling within when you draw back what it is you feel grateful for. So just notice if that happens. And if it does, where do you feel it in your body? If you feel it in your body, can you move it around the body? Maybe you feel it in a little smile. Maybe you feel it in the chest or the belly. And can you allow that felt sense of gratitude to move through the body? Down into the legs and the feet. Up into the shoulders, the arms. So we have that kind of lived experience of gratitude. Take another long, deep breath in. And as you exhale, slowly release. Release your legs or release the strap. And if you can, just release the legs long along the mat. So that you can just pause for a few breaths there. So that may have been quite a squeeze into the hips or the knees. And maybe you start to feel that kind of release of energy. See how that is. And then as you inhale, draw the knees back into the chest. You could have a little rock side to side if that feels good. And then roll over to one side. so that you can come all the way back up to sit. And if you find it useful to sit on something like a folded blanket or a brick, then do that. Just might give a little bit of a lift into the pelvis. And we're just going to flow at the arms a few times when you're there. So take an inhale, reach the arms out to the side and all the way up. You might take the gaze to the thumbs, and as you exhale, draw the belly in and bring the hands down to the heart space. Do that a couple of times, inhaling, reaching the hands up, and exhaling. Take your time. See if you can even bring in that 3-part breath, or just an awareness of the breath moving through the whole of the chest. Inhaling up, and then this time as you exhale, we'll come into cactus arms, so bringing the elbows in line with the shoulders, and see if you can draw the shoulder blades back towards one another a little. Take another inhale, reach the hands back up. You might gaze to the thumbs if it feels okay for the neck, and then as you exhale, come back to your cactus arms. Again, draw shoulder blades towards one another. Inhale to reach up, and exhaling. Do one more of those. Inhale and exhale. Take an inhale in your cactus arms, and then as you exhale, release the hands behind, interlace the fingers, draw the shoulder blades together, so a little bit more of an opening into the chest, but just notice if you need to draw the belly in so you stay nice and long through the spine. And breathing there, a couple of breaths. Feeling that you can open up through the shoulders, the upper chest. And then take another inhale. And then as you exhale, release the arms round and forward. Interlace the fingers again, palms facing towards you. And then round through the back. Chin towards the chest. And draw the shoulder blades away from one another. So a few breaths there. Opening up through the back of the body, and even feeling that you could breathe into the back of the body a little. And then on your next breath in, reach the hands up to the top. You can keep them interlaced, and then press the palms away and up. Try and keep the shoulders down away from the ears if you can. Draw the belly in a little. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, a little fold over to the right side. So a little bit of a side stretch. Doesn't need to be much. Keep the hips level. Take an inhale, come back to the center. And exhale over to the other side. Inhale, center. One more time either side with your breath. Exhaling, little side stretch. Inhale and exhale. Take an inhale to come back to the center, and then as you exhale, just release the hands out to the side and all the way down. And just kind of feel that maybe release through the upper arms, through the shoulders, down through the fingertips. And then release over the legs, so you can come into your tabletop. Hips over knees, shoulders over wrists, fingertips nicely spread. And as you inhale, allow the belly to drop, gaze upwards, bring the tailbone up. And then as you exhale, draw the belly in, chin towards the chest, press through the hands. A couple of times through your cat-cow. And if the lower back ever kind of feels a little bit niggly, if you move through these cat-cows, just keep the belly drawn in. So some days I have that and cat-cow actually doesn't feel that good. So I just stay a little bit connected through the belly as I gaze upwards and bring the tailbone up. So it's a very, very small back bend. Exhaling to round. Do one more of those. Inhale. And then exhale. And then we're going to sit back towards child's pose. Keep that left arm reaching forward and then bring the right arm underneath. So if you can, bring the right shoulder down towards the mat and the side of the head. So if the ground feels like it's far away, you could have a cushion, a pillow or two. And allow yourself to settle as best you can there. So what we're looking for is a little bit of a squeeze into the right shoulder and the upper arm, but a place that you can rest. So you can have that left arm where it is. Maybe the hand is beside the face or it's reaching forward, but the elbow is bending. Or if you want to go a little bit deeper, you could bring the left hand to the back of the body and open up through the left shoulder a little. But wherever you go, just make it a little bit soft, a little bit gentle, not feeling you've got to go to like your deepest twist. So we're going to be here a couple of minutes. Do make sure you've got padding for the head if you need to, if you feel like you've got a lot of weight coming into the head. So the kind of neuroscience around gratitude is showing that expressing gratitude not only to others but also to ourselves induces these positive emotions. So primarily happiness, but also joy and bliss and contentment. And by producing these emotions, it impacts positively our overall health and well-being, and how we show up in the world as well, how we go about our day-to-day life. And simple things like keeping a gratitude journal, which we'll have a look at, and keeping and doing other things like on a regular basis can be really helpful to reduce stress. But it's also been shown to improve sleep patterns. So particularly people who have done like a gratitude journal just before they go to bed, that it's said that they sleep better. And what it's shown within the brain, within the body, is that it's like a natural antidepressant. So that's what the effects of gratitude are actually showing on a scientific level, which I think is just fascinating, that we're getting much more in depth about this. We may have always known that these practices were good for us, but science is actually starting to prove it, and it can have like a long-lasting happiness effect on us and a long-lasting contentment. So we can often strive for things in life, get those things, and then keep striving for other things or bigger things or whatever it is. And we never really have that sense of contentment. But we can achieve that by practicing gratitude. And it's shown as well that the hormones dopamine and serotonin are produced. And these are kind of those crucial transmitters responsible for the positive emotions. And they can enhance our mood immediately, making us feel happy from the inside. So take another long, deep breath in. And as you exhale, slowly begin to release. And if you feel you want some movement at that point, you might particularly feel that you want to lengthen the legs. So you might come just simply to lie on your belly or even your back, or you might go into down dog, or just stretch the legs out. Down dog only if kind of you're feeling energy levels are pretty good today. Can feel quite full on down dog at times. So do something a bit softer if you need to. And when you feel ready to do the other side, you can come back towards your child's pose. Reach the right arm forward, left arm underneath, shoulder down, side of head down. Cushion if you need to. Right arm behind you if that feels good, otherwise just keep it down. But finding that place to rest and just be, and let go of muscles and let go of the body. as best you can. So by consciously practicing gratitude every day, we can help the neural pathways to be strengthened and to then ultimately create a kind of a permanent, grateful and positive nature within ourselves. So one of the things I've mentioned is obviously journaling. Doesn't work for everyone, so that might not be one that you want to think about incorporating into your life. It might feel like a bit of a chore, but there are others. One of the ones that I did a few years ago was a gratitude jar. I made everybody put in the things that they were grateful for. People that came into the house, they thought I was mad. But it was actually really lovely to then, maybe a few months, I don't know, 6 months later or something, get them all out and read them all. Very fuzzy, warm feeling. Might be something you try. But there are others, so like a gratitude walk. So if you're the kind of person that goes on regular walks, maybe walking the dog every day, it can be a time that maybe you would, like a mindful walk, but actually just take some time just to, in your mind, just considering those things that you feel grateful for, but remembering to go a little bit deeper. So just saying, okay, well, I'm grateful for that because of this and how it made you feel. And when we do that, we start to build on our emotional awareness, our emotional intelligence, become aware of the effects of different things in our lives and how they are affecting us. And when we do the gratitude walk, we double up on positivity, because walking, especially in nature, is wonderful for our well-being anyway. And it can also be a great way to habit stack. So stacking on top of something that you're already doing anyway. If you do walk a dog every day, something that you have to do, or you walk to work or the shops or whatever it is, it's something that you have to do anyway. So it's stacking on top of things. It's a bit like being mindful when you brush your teeth. You have to do that every day, so why not stack on top of that being mindful? Taking another long deep breath in. And as you exhale, slowly, slowly release. And as ever, choose movement, choose stillness. Doesn't need to be the same thing every time, but rather listen to what your body's asking for. And then when you're ready, we'll come down onto our belly, into Sphinx. So elbows underneath the shoulders, palms spread on the mat. Or you could bring them into prayer as well, which can be quite nice, so palms together. So you've got a little bit more pressure into the elbows perhaps. And if you do have a brick or anything, this can be nice to allow the forehead to come down onto, because that just means that you don't have to hold the head. But if you don't have a brick, don't worry, it's fine. If that feels like a little bit too much of a back bend, you could draw the elbows forward so that the belly kind of comes down a little bit more, and hopefully that lessens the back bend. But if it still kind of feels a little bit pinchy and not quite right, you could stack the hands and bring the forehead onto the hands. And actually that can still be quite a back bend. So wherever you choose, just allow yourself to soften. And let go of the feet, so maybe the heels drop out to the side or inwards, whichever way they kind of just naturally go. Let go of the muscles in the legs, in the pelvis, the hips. And just see if the shoulder blades need to just slightly roll down the back, so they move a little bit further away from the head. There's just a settling there. Another really lovely gratitude practice that you can do is when you're eating. You could even do it now. You could consider whatever you had for breakfast or what you had for dinner last night, and all the elements and everything that would have had to be involved for you to have that meal. This can be a really powerful one. Certainly I've found it. So you would think of the things that needed to happen for those things to grow. If it's vegetables and fruits and what have you, you have to have the sun, you have to have rain, you have to have somebody growing those things, cultivating them, looking after them, harvesting them, and then they have to be packaged and get to a shop. That's probably more people. And so on. When you look at this, it can become really quite amazing just to think of one meal and how many people were involved for you to be able to have that meal. So you might even just consider that just for a moment, the last thing that you ate, what would have needed to happen. And you can feel as if you could send gratitude out to those people, to that process, to nature herself. Taking another long deep breath in, and as you exhale, you could bring one cheek onto the mat, bring the arms beside the body, but if that doesn't feel great for the chest, make a pillow with the hands, the arms, and rest that way. And as you rest again, just allowing body be heavy, but maybe you've got that kind of lovely rhythm, ebb and flow of the breath across the belly, the chest. You might even bring that 3-part breath back in. It can be a very kind of soothing breath, particularly when you have support on the front of the body. And then when you're ready, bringing the hands under the shoulders, slowly and gently coming back towards your child's pose. So you can simply just be in your favorite child's pose, but if you have a couple of pillows or a bolster, you could make it a little bit softer and create a supported child's pose. So see which would be right for you, and be here a little while, so settle yourself in. I like to have the palms facing up, particularly if I've got the bolster, because it's just a reminder to release the elbows and soften the shoulders and release into that. But just see where is right for you. again, just feel that you're releasing the body, that back bending from the Sphinx, just letting go. Feel that there's no effort here, nowhere to get to, nothing to be other than exactly as you are. Just become aware of your senses. Become aware of hearing. Maybe you can hear things outside the house or inside the house. Just aware of them. Not engaging, just aware. Be aware of your sense of smell, or even just the air coming into the nostrils. Be aware of your sense of sight, even if the eyes might be closed. Just knowing you have eyes and you can see. Be aware of your sense of taste. Be moving the tongue around the mouth a little. And aware of the sense of touch. Maybe air on the skin or just the touch of the ground. Aware of all of your senses. And maybe just saying to yourself, for this I am grateful. I am grateful for all of my senses, how they allow me to be in the world and experience the world. For this I am grateful. And if you're using a prop and you have the cheek down, you could just move the cheek to the other side. And you could become aware of people in your life, family, friends, your circle of people. Maybe seeing their faces, feeling their energy. And just saying to yourself, for them I am grateful. Just being aware of how they bring meaning and purpose and love and joy into your life. For this I am grateful. And then moving to yourself and considering all of the things that you love about yourself, all of the hard work that you have done to get to where you are today, all the love and compassion that you offer out into the world. And saying to yourself, for this I am grateful. Just resting for a few moments in that, and maybe in that realization that life, this precious human life, is a gift. Or maybe saying, for this I am grateful. Taking another long deep breath in, perhaps a little pause at the top. And a long exhale. And when you feel ready, slowly, slowly come back out. And we're going to move into our legs up the wall, or pelvis on a bolster, or legs on a chair or bed. So if you're using the wall, get the pelvis nice and close to the wall, swing the legs up. If you're using a chair or the side of the sofa, it's basically the backs of the calves that are on the chair. You're still quite close to it. And then swing the legs up. Sometimes this is my preferred option anyway, rather than legs up the wall, so see how it feels for you. And if you don't have any of them, you prefer to use a bolster, you can as well. Just having the pelvis on the bolster, and the legs should just kind of hover in the air without needing to do very much. And see where you want to be with the hands, so the arms. So you might be in cactus arms, you might have the arms beside the body, or you might have them on the body. Just again having that settling. Softening shoulders. Letting yourself rest. And just be aware of how these practices of gratitude might be making you feel within the body. Is there anything there? And no right or wrong, just sense into that. Maybe there's a warmth, an openness, maybe even tears sometimes. Just exploring that for a little while. And I'll be quiet for a couple of minutes, just to let you experience that, let you be with that. And before you begin to move, just take some longer, deeper breaths. And if you can just be aware of that 3-part breath, it can help us to breathe more fully into the lungs. And after a while, you don't even need to think about it. You don't need to think, oh, I need, 3 parts in the breath, but actually it just happens. So maybe that's already happening for you. But feel that you're breathing down into the belly as well as all the way up into the collarbones. Just taking your time with those slightly longer, deeper breaths. Long exhale. And there's no tension, there's no stress. There's no feeling that you're gasping for breath. It's just a gradual deepening and lengthening. And then when you're ready, you can slowly, slowly make your way out, bringing the legs down. And it can be useful to just lie flat, long, legs long, just to allow the legs to kind of recalibrate, allowing the blood to move back into the legs and the feet. It can be really great for circulation. So just take a bit of time there. And then when you're ready, hug the knees back in, rolling back up. And then we're going to use lots of props. So if you have a couple of pillows, you can stack them so that you end up with a little bit of a step between each one. So we're going to lie back onto this. I like to then have a cushion or two for my head. And if you have a bolster or even another blanket that you could roll up, it becomes even more comfortable, but not essential. So basically pelvis nice and close. Backs of the knees are going to go on your bolster or your rolled up thing. And then you're rolling back, releasing the head down. And then if you can, allow the arms to be away from the body, palms up. Take a little bit of time to get into that. It should be super comfortable. So no real back bending. Unless that just feels great and that's what you want to do today, that's absolutely fine. But not really the aim of this one. But if that's where you are, it's fine. Settle yourself in. You might even, if you had a strap or a scarf, you might even bring that over the eyes to allow yourself to settle in a bit more. And allow the palms to face upwards if you can, if that feels okay for shoulders and arms. Take a long deep breath in and a long exhale. Feel that you're settling, releasing there. And another gratitude practice, particularly if you're not one for journaling, it's not gonna work, it's not gonna be part of what you do every day. This is a great one. So in the thumbs and the fingers, we're just gonna plant a little seed of gratitude. So considering on each finger something that we feel grateful for. So just take some time to be aware of the palms, be aware of the fingers and the thumbs. And then be aware of the right hand thumb. Just starting there, planting that little seed of gratitude, considering why you feel glad about that thing or that person, and how it makes you feel. feel that that is planted there, move to your index finger. Sense and feel the index finger, and then plant that little seed of gratitude. So it might be an experience, something that has happened, something that somebody has done for you. It might be a person or a material thing, something in your life. Consider why and how it makes you feel. And just continue to move through the fingers with awareness. Bit by bit, no rush. Letting that gratitude, that gladness live in the fingers and thumbs. And if you get to the little finger, and then you can move over to the left hand. But don't worry too much where you get to either. Just go at your pace in a way that makes sense to you. This is a wonderful practice to do just before bed. And you can really find any posture that allows the physical body to relax. So you could do it in legs up the wall, in supported child's pose, simply just lying on your back. You could set a timer for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however long you have. And just move through each finger and thumb. And then when you have all of your little seeds of gratitude planted on your fingers and thumbs, be aware of them. Aware of all of them together, and then take a long deep breath in and feel as if you're breathing that gratitude up into the shoulders and down into the chest. And as you exhale, it might be as if it's filtering down through the rest of the body, into the belly, the hips, the pelvis, the legs. You might do that a few times with slightly deeper breaths, so that you have this felt sense of gratitude through your whole being, every cell, every organ. Feel as if you're buzzing with gratitude. And then when you feel ready, move the fingers and thumbs. Slowly begin to make your way out. In whatever way makes sense. So you might roll to one side, you might hug the knees in. And we'll just move our props and lie down on our back. And you might feel that you want to draw the knees in, move side to side, particularly if it did feel like a back bend for you. You might even do a happy baby, so that you feel that you lengthen the back of the body again. Becomes a bit more of a neutral spine. So really just do any movements that you feel you need to then be able to just settle and release. And then just settling. And worth kind of knowing that gratitude isn't like a quick fix. It's not going to change everything overnight. You might feel though that it gives relief from stress almost immediately. And practicing gratitude doesn't mean that we will be always happy, always delighted, live with these kind of rose-tinted glasses. That's not the idea. We don't want to bypass the pain and struggles and all of those other things that we're challenged with in life. But rather, gratitude asks us to just accept that we might be sad at times, but focus on how to reduce that sadness and depression or anger or any other what we would class as negative emotions. And we don't expect miracles from doing this journal, doing journaling or anything else, any other of these practices. We just get maybe a bit of a view of the right things that are in our life and do exist at the moment, all of the things that are going well. And by being more grateful on the inside, we can express it outside. And then we gain the power to basically to combat and cope with stress. That doesn't mean it just suddenly goes away, but it just gets a little bit easier. And you might sense a rippling effect in your life as well. When you express more gratitude to people around you, your relationships change as well. Just for the next minute or so, just resting here, where you are, being with how you are, and letting that be enough, more than enough. Taking another long deep breath in. Exhaling, maybe sighing out through the mouth. When you're ready, draw the knees in. Have a little rock side to side. And just slowly make your way back to sit. Pausing with the hands in prayer at the heart center. And may you just move through your day with a little bit more of an awareness of things that you feel glad about, that you feel grateful for. closing with one Om. Take a deep breath in. Om. Thank you for your practice. Namaste.